They don't finally post. Then say American military aircraft C17 Global Master don't land for inside Nigeria. They say many people witness and they saw it. But right now they say Nigeria government is deny. And they say the northern Muslim now don't begin all the shout say sovereignty is danger. That is to say, the hour has come. It definitely read for inside Nigeria because that global master, so now they carry military equipment, oh, it don't read.
So there are reports that the US military aircraft C17, the Globe Master, landed somewhere in Nigeria last week. As a matter of fact, it is said the aircraft landed at the Nigerian Air Force base at Kainji. And this aircraft is specifically known for conveying cargo, troops. Of course, it's like a transport aircraft with 4 engines, a very powerful machine in the sky. As a matter of fact, it's one of the US most important objects in the sky. This aircraft came in, people saw it, people within the area saw it, recorded videos and even posted online. But the Nigerian army still came out and debunked that the US has not deployed troops in Nigeria. Well, I have a gift for them. This man, who predicted all this whole thing before now, has already given us a heads up so that we can know exactly what is coming. Listen to him.
My brothers and sisters, US troops are in Nigeria, challenging sovereignty, selective outrage by Murik. Something serious has happened. An American C-17, you have heard this already, I'm sure, Globe Master landed at Kainji Air Force Base. Not a rumor, it's not a speculation. This is not a What's Up podcast. A US military aircraft. Nigerian government says, oh, this is routine cooperation. Murik, Muslim Rights Concern, a powerful religious group speaking for Muslims in the north of Nigeria, says sovereignty in danger. By north, I mean mostly Caliphate North. Nigerians are asking, who invited who? That's the question. And this is the Ofion show. Today we are not shouting. We are reading power. We are using our eyes. We are using our brain. So what really happened? This is now my own take. A US Air Force Boeing C-17A Globe Master landed at Kainji. AFRICOM confessed this is a small team. The Nigerian government says advisory role only, intelligence support, capacity building, no combat authority, Nigerian sovereignty. Really? That's how they bombed Sokoto Caliphate. And the Sultan is nowhere to be seen. I say blah, blah, blah. Usual, normal, Tinubu government sharp talk. Fine. But when foreign military hardware lands on a sovereign soil like Nigeria from another country during an active insurgency crisis, that is not a casual development, ladies and gentlemen. That is not routine. That sounds like a Trump continuing his promises to stop Christian killings in Nigeria. Very, very strategically. This is geopolitics, ladies and gentlemen. And geopolitics is about leverage. Do you have leverage? That is the question. Do you have leverage? This does not look like two equal partners, Tinubu and Trump, casually collaborating. It looks like Tinubu presidency negotiating under pressure. Let us be honest. Now, let us address something calmly. Is the leverage against Tinubu from below? Is this why he's scared to say no to Trump? Public U.S. federal court records from the early 1990s, including the civil forfeiture case, United States versus Bola Ahmed Tinubu, filed in the Northern District of Illinois, have been widely discussed in Nigerian political discourse. Some people may think this is deliberate. It was a civil forfeiture proceeding. It was not a criminal conviction. I'm not saying that. It was civil forfeiture. But activists, Omoyole Sowore, and others have repeatedly cited those records in Illinois to argue that President Tinubu carries reputational baggage in Washington, D.C. Whether one agrees with you or not is not the point. That's why he has to sneak his wife around. In geopolitics, reputational vulnerability affects bargaining power. That is reality. That is reality. So when U.S. military assets land quietly and the messaging feels reactive rather than proactive from Tinubu, Nigerians are entitled to ask, was this consent? Did you agree to this? Or was this constraint? Were you constrained by this? The Nigerian Defense Headquarters insists advisory role only, intelligence cooperation, Nigerian Command Supreme, bilateral, big English, blah, blah, blah. Another blah, 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 song and dance. from a disingenuous federal government that is not straight. Tinubu is not straight with Nigerians. He does not tell the truth to Nigerians. But Nigerians deserve clarity before speculation. Nigeria want clarity now. In Nigeria, transparency sometimes arrives after WhatsApp exchanges. When communication lags, suspicion grows. So let him come back and tell the truth. And suspicion thrives inside. By the way, why can't Tinubu talk for himself? He never comes out and talks as the president of the country. Some people have cited the 2027 factor. Let us not pretend politics is not in the room that drives some of these issues. Northern political blocs remain central to 2027 electoral arithmetic. Of course they do. They wrote the constitution. But I helped them write this constitution which ensured Northern dominance in Nigeria forever. That constitution ensured the North will dominate Nigeria politically. So Tinubu is beholden to them. Security decisions cannot be separated in Nigeria today from that reality. That is part of the problem. When sovereignty rhetoric rises sharply from certain northern advocacy groups, it signals anxiety. Not necessarily religion, it's the politics. It's about leverage. It's the leverage that they have. If external presence shifts internal power equations, some blocks will react, like in the North. This is their bread and butter. Power. Entitlement. The Murik directly address this. Let us speak clearly. Murik. And voices aligned with Murik, including Sheikh Ahmad Gumi, and similar northern religious political groups and commentators. They want sovereignty. They have suddenly discovered sovereignty. Fine. Then Nigerians have questions. When they opening the border, they didn't think about sovereignty from the north. Where was this same thunder when Boko Haram was bombing schools? What did Murik say then? Where was this same fire when ISWAP was overrunning communities in different parts of the north? Where were the weekly press conferences naming those groups without hesitation? Not their condemnations from organizations like Murik, not misguided statement elements. Boko Haram, ISWAP, we know what they've done in Kaduna. We know what they've done over the country. Call them by name. Murik. Have you matched the urgency you now display? You are crying sovereignty suddenly? Because Nigerians remember. And Nigerians remember tone too. The tone of your voice. By the way, don't Nigerians sometimes wonder, what is wrong with these religious groups like from the north, like Murik? What is wrong with these groups? Is it really about Nigeria or about their selfish political ends? When villages were burned, when farmers were slaughtered, when churches were attacked, when children were kidnapped, look at what does happen in Kwara State. Where was the sovereignty emergency then? I did not hear those northern groups talk about sovereignty. But the Trump, American aircraft lands, and suddenly the Nigerian constitution is trembling. Nigerians are not naive. That contrast is visible. And by the way, Murik says something about Christian army. Have you ever heard about it? Christian army in Nigeria? You hear about Boko Haram? Murik warns about the so-called Christian army. Christian army. Okay. Let us be serious. Boko Haram has ideology that is written down against Christians, calling them names. They have their ideology. ISWAP has a written ideology. They have justified violence in writing these terrorist organizations in Nigeria. Show Nigerians, I asked Murik, one mainstream Christian organization in Nigeria with a manifesto targeting Muslims for extermination, calling them heathens. One, show it before you send the disingenuous Nuhu Ribadu to Washington, D.C., to Rubio to talk about, oh, you know, the situation in Nigeria is so complex. We don't even know. Don't say anybody is killing anybody. You cannot do this. So if you want to speak about religious sensitivity, speak clearly. Speak about extremist ideology operating in your own environment. In the north, in the Caliphate North, where Deborah Samuels was executed, killed by his own classmates for saying that she's a born-again Christian publicly. Silence is not neutrality, ladies and gentlemen. Silence in the face of extremism creates distrust. That is why you have that distrust in Nigeria today. That's why I put this on the table. I put this on the table for public debate on selective outrage. If sovereignty is sacred, according to Murik, then sovereignty must first protect Nigerians. You cannot be cautious and careful with words when terrorists operate. You are afraid of terrorists, but you are fierce when Washington lands will jump. Sovereignty, Christian army. You cannot be measured when villages burn like in Kwara, and outrage when an aircraft arrives. That pattern raises legitimate questions, and Nigerians are tired. They're tired of funerals in Kwara State and around the country. They're tired of mass graves. They're tired of prestige politics while citizens die. They're tired of the First Lady traveling to go and sit down in a breakfast meeting when people are dying in Nigeria. Murik and voices aligned with Murik. If you want credibility, condemn extremist violence with the same urgency you condemn U.S. aircraft coming to protect Christians. Because Nigerians are burying their dead. As we speak, this morning I thought you can't read without seeing these people being killed. And Murik operates with selective outrage. This episode is not about panic. It's about power. I may be passionate, but it's about power. Either this was negotiated from strength, I'm talking about the U.S. troops coming, or from pressure. Either this is a sovereign strategy, or this reflects internal weakness of the president himself, of the Nigerian system itself. Nigeria deserves to know the terms of that landing. They deserve clarity. They deserve accountability, not slogans, not selective outrage from Murik and those alphabet organizations, not prestige politics. I'm sure you know the Americans will tell you exactly why they're there. They will. There's nothing to hide. In Nigeria, when government says small team, that's the kind of statements they issue. It can mean 5 men, it can mean 5 battalions. The government has no credibility in Nigeria. The politicians say routine cooperation. Nigerians start checking flight radar. And when sovereignty suddenly becomes urgent, when Nigeria, oh, we are a sovereign country, we are supposed to be bad. Nigeria asks, where was this energy when bandits were recruiting in Nigeria? When they were allowing bandits to join Nigerian army? Nigeria is not an oasis. Nigeria is sinking. Terrorists were joining Nigerian army. The Nigerian government of Bola Tinubu has zero credibility. In my book, zero credibility. And Nigerians cannot fail but say this. Subscribe, comment, push notifications so that you know when the podcast comes out. This is the Ofionokwa Show. We don't just report events, we track where they lead. I am the voice of the voiceless. I am your independent voice. Like usual, look at what I just did today. I told fearless truths. And sometimes I laugh. I laugh at inept Nigerian power. I laugh at it. I am Ofiong Akwa. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Make we go.
Hey God, wahala be like portable. Now, it's very, very funny, see, ever since when America don't interfere for this matter, the northern Muslims, the northern leaders, their body don't they shake, their body don't they vibrate. But ever since when these Islamic extremists and all this jihad and all this their gbogbo terror, bandit, insurgency, where they don't they operate since, we never see any Islam group for Nigeria where come and condemn this thing categorically, condemn man to the eyes and the ears of Nigerians. This same Murik now wey be say dem say now say they don't they shout now say e don set, e don red o, wahala don sovereignty at stake o, sovereignty danger o, gbegbe o. Why be so una never come out since that time make una come condemn all the thing wey una boys dey do, because they be una boys. So now wey America don dey involve now una know say the sovereignty of Nigeria is at stake. Wait o, when they open border to pack bandit from neighboring country to Nigeria, una no cry say sovereignty is at stake. When bandits dey invade everywhere to the extent wey be say southern region now don collect woto, una no cry say sovereignty is at stake. When una dey carry Sharia law, dey say e go happen here, e go happen there, una no say this thing is at stake. Okay, now when so many things dey happen, una no talk say sovereignty is at stake. Why e come be say now when be say these same Christians wey don dey suffer for una, because you know say Nigerians don't want you to talk truth. Our problem in this country na religious issue. E no get wetin anybody wan tell me. And if you say make I analyze am, go analyze am for you, maybe for one of my video. Nigerians are just shying away from reality. They don't just want to tell themselves the truth. They don't just want to accept the truth. They don't just want to face reality. Now that's why you see everybody big around the corner. Our major issue here for this gongon na religion. A situation whereby one person dey form senior brother for another person, because truth must be told. Muslim for this country, they feel say anything wey they do is right. Nobody have right to question them. Okay, imagine say wetin Muslim they do for this country since. It not be whole, but let's say the extremists, yes, the radical one. Let's say the things wey they don't they do for this country since. Say Christians can't decide to do the same thing. How una think say this country go be? Whenever una they do, it is sweet una. Una not say anything wrong with them. But whenever other people say this thing like this, e no good again, una come dey begin come dey use sovereignty say dey threaten people. Dey use, see, we are no longer in that era. There is no sovereignty in a country that cannot even protect their citizens. But what is sovereignty about the gangan? What is sovereignty? The sovereignty of to dey suppress others. Una go dey form like the only surviving momo for inside okra soup. I no really understand. Because whenever I hear this sovereignty, now when it be say the table want turn around, now when it be say the people who are the oppressed want try stand for themselves, now we hear sovereignty, 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 sovereignty. The way go now they do this country. Una even do Muslim ticket. Will you people ever agree for Christian ticket? So enough is enough. Oh. Enough is enough. You understand? So nobody get monopoly of wadu wadu. You understand? Anybody can do wadu wadu. So if some set of people quiet, or maybe they don't want be like follow pig, they enter potopoto, you know me say maybe all of us no fit go dirty for this country. Enough is enough. Oh. Enough is enough, because they say if dirty too much for inside soup, they say blind person go see am. And right now blind person don dey see am. Na make America dey Nigeria so, because the hour has come, e don set.